Okay, so in this video, I wanted to look at lighting within the scene and rendering that lighting. We're looking at one-point lighting, and what I've done is set up an area light, and I have the subject. The area light, it has a pivot at the um, 0 axis here, so that way we can rotate it around the character so that we can look at different angles and different results and kind of look at the storytelling of each different type of angle that we're looking at when we're lighting within for our 3D character here. Also with the character, it's not completely straight. He has a little bit of a head tilt and kind of a bit of expression. He doesn't have completely closed mouth or anything. So it just makes it a little bit more dynamic. It's not straight on, so it's more of a natural pose maybe. Maybe not so natural, but at least it's not straight on so that we can look at how that's going to work for us. Also set up the camera. So if we look at the camera in the scene, it's right here. So it's almost straight in front, but just a little bit off to the side. Just so that you know where the camera is, but we're mostly going to be looking at doing work with the lighting here. So the first thing that we're looking at is lighting straight on, and if we render this here, we'll see that the lighting for a character with a light going straight onto him, it really kind of just fills in a lot of the areas where you would normally see shadows. It's kind of the beginnings of what some people might call beauty lighting. Also, if you look at what people call like the golden hour when people are shooting video outside or photography, it's really when the sun is kind of right about to set. So when you're looking at that light, it gives you a nice kind of color and it fills in a lot of the shadows. It's soft. So when we're looking at a straight-on shot like that, we are kind of trying to really fill in all the shadows, make it as nice and smooth as possible so that we can see the face in its best light. Characters in this type of setting probably will be happy, and you'll be able to tell that they are who they are and that they're kind of more vibrant and lively. So taking the light, and I'm going to do 45-degree angles around the character. So these are going to be the major shifts in lighting setups that we see for characters. Is about every 45 degrees. So when I do that, if we look at the scene, I'll go back really quick here. The camera, or the light, is not directly in front of the character anymore. It's slightly off to the side, to the right here of our scene. So let's look at that render now. Bringing back my preview render here, and here you can see at a 45-degree angle we are starting to get a little bit more shadows in the face. So we're getting a lot of shadows here in the inside of the eye, the nose, the whole side of the face here, and we're getting a hit of light or hint of light on the cheek. Sometimes this is kind of similar to what people will call Rembrandt lighting inside of like Renaissance art paintings and things like that, is where you get that hit of light on the cheek. It's maybe a little bit kind of more extreme where you kind of just only get the cheek. Right now I got a little bit of the face and things like that, but that's the general idea. Here the scene might be a little bit more tense. It's going to start really kind of feeling that it is not all kind of sunshine and roses or whatnot. It's really kind of getting to the point where the character might feel a little bit uneasy, and especially with only one light. But we're only rendering one light right now so that you get the feel of how the light works in all the different positions. Later on we will go in future lessons and use multiple lights and see kind of how we can tweak each one of them to get different moods. But right now we're only focusing on one light right now. So if we go all the way up to 90 degrees and re-render this here, we'll see that you're getting a strong light on one side of the face and almost no light on the other half of the face. And this is where you're going to be looking at a character that's maybe two-faced. So you're separating the light on the character's face on two sides of the character, so the character might be hiding something, and it's really kind of got this kind of that something's not quite right vibe going on. So let's look at another 45-degree angle. So at 135, if we render this, we are basically getting it from like 3/4 back lighting right here, and what we're really noticing is that we're getting this nice rim light. So in a lot of photography and a lot of even 3D films and things like that, you'll see that the characters are kind of separated from the background by this rim light. And if you have a really nice strong rim light with a blooming effect, so it's kind of like glowing a little bit, then that might be kind of like an angelic feel when you're getting that rim light, especially right now, especially if you had another light and it was filling up the face here. But right now without another light, with this rim light, it's really kind of a scary, eerie feel. So it's kind of like using the rim light to a different mood. With this light, I have an intensity of 1, but if we took it and kind of increased the intensity quite a bit and re-rendered this, let's try that again. There we go. So we get a very kind of much stronger rim light here. And you get the idea of where you're getting that light from your rim, and it's strong on this side of the light, but you'll see on the opposite side of the body you do have a bit of a rim as well. So that's something to keep in mind. That's kind of like a nice little nuance that you can get with the lighting as well. So let's bring this back to 1 for the intensity and go on to our next rotation. So it's going to be at 180. So here we're really going to be silhouetting our actors. Right now I'm getting most of the silhouetting in kind of the shoulders area. If we played around with it, we might be able to get kind of a rim going around his whole body, but the idea is that you're going to be silhouetting your character in darkness. If we had another light that was actually lighting up the background, because I do have a, if we look at our scene here, we do have kind of a background plate that we can be casting light on, but we have the light that is in front of it. So if we had a secondary light here and pointing at the background, we can see the background and it will look really kind of vibrant and nice, but at the same time this character is going to be completely in shadow. So this is definitely kind of an ominous masked murderer type of feel for your character, especially once you start adding more lights where you can actually see it. Maybe with 1-point light inside of a 3D scene like this, it might be very counterproductive because I don't have anything else that's bouncing light forward. If I had another piece of geometry in front, maybe I'll get some bounce light on the character as well, and you'll see some details and things like that. But right now we are really only getting this slight silhouetting here, and I would really like, with a scene like this, maybe to get a secondary light using the background, and you really get that nice dark silhouetted feel of the character. Okay, so let's go back to the light and look at doing, oops, wrong one, kind of 45-degree angles on the other side, and you'll see that because he's kind of posed, it's going to be slightly different. So if I do that, and let's go back here and render from our camera view, you'll see that at the 45 degrees from the opposite side, because we're on the side where the camera is, it's not quite a rim light. It's almost acting kind of like a you're just kind of filling in this area. It's going almost into black on the opposite side, but you can see a little bit of a slight separation here from the background and the character. Again, we're hiding the face in this shot here. So anytime you're hiding the face, really, with the lighting, the character has something that they're hiding, and it's a really good way to kind of set that mood up. So let's go to -90. Again, opposite side, it's going to be really similar to what we saw on the opposite from the other side, but slightly different. Again, two face here, but this time we're hitting on the side of the face that is closer to the camera, maybe. So what is being revealed to us is kind of more true, it's less hidden. Also, with something like this, you are can also maybe get some sort of mood. They're not only just two-faced, but maybe they're not feeling well, they're sad, or they're in general hiding something. It can be emotional, it can be like truly in the scene, in the story, whatever you're creating. It can be that kind of thing as well. So let's look at -45, which is the last one of going around the character. So here you can see a little bit of that Rembrandt lighting where it's hitting the cheek and very little of anything else on the opposite side of the character. We're getting a little bit of lighting kind of on the background there, but it's really just kind of this fill light that is giving you a little bit of story. It's not going into the front where you're getting that nice beauty lighting, but once we add a second light, if we had a second light on the opposite side and fill in some of the shadows, it could be kind of just mood lighting type of thing. You're trying to set up a mood for something, an emotional shift in your piece, something like that. So if we go back to 0 and look at our lighting from straight in front again, again, beauty lighting, everything's very even, flat lighting on the character. Another area that we can start adjusting and playing with is rotating the camera up or down. So if we were to go and set up the camera with a little bit of a rotation here. So here, let me make sure that I'm rotating so it's coming from the top down here. I am not sure what's going on with my render, so let's close that out and reset up the render, except not from that view, because that's not what I'm trying to show off right now. Let's go from our camera view and render. So right now with the camera, I mean not the camera, but the light coming from the top down, this is generally what you get with the sun. Obviously when you're outside with the sun, kind of the lighting is going to be so intense that it's bouncing off everything, and then you get fill light from everywhere. But in this case, maybe it can be the character is inside of a room and it has a ceiling light that is on, and that's all that's on in this room, and it's kind of in front of them in a way or something like that. So here it really kind of lights up some of the area. He does have a hat, so it shadows up some of the top up here, but we can see as it gets into his eyes, we're lighting up his eyes. The bottom part of the face and neck are really kind of darkened, but at the same time, this is kind of a little bit more natural type of lighting than if we were to get not 40 but 45 coming from the bottom. If we were to render this from the lighting coming from the bottom, you'll see that you're getting this kind of eerie, unnatural feel, because how often do you have a light coming down from the bottom? So if you want to make your audience feel uneasy when they're looking at your piece, this is a good way to do that. How do you really go in and explain that within a bigger piece if you're seeing this? Maybe the character is holding a tablet and the light is emitting from that and lighting the character, or a computer or something like that. It can be of some sort of illuminated floor, or even lawn lights, things like that. A lot of things can cause that type of lighting, so that you can get that kind of light look from the bottom that really is unnatural, and it just gives you this eerie sense when you look at the character that you're working with here. So we could go to the extremes. So if we went from directly on top and rendered this, you'll see, especially with this character that has a hat on, completely puts his face into shadow, and we can see that you're seeing some of the shoulders and other things lighting up, but it's similar to coming from the back, but you're getting a little bit of a softer fall off on the rest of the body here because it's lighting from the top here. Again, character's hiding something, or you want to hide the identity of your character for some reason in the story, you're going to want to do something like this. Doing it from the bottom and rendering this, you can see very kind of unnatural, maybe illuminated floor or something like that. And again, you want to do this type of lighting, or it could even be like a character holding up a flashlight to their face. So it gives you that scary campfire feel of the person trying to be scary, or is scary somehow for your character. So this type of mood lighting is really kind of intense and can really push your storytelling through your lighting. So if we were to go back to kind of like a 45-degree angle on the tilt here of the light, so again, we're looking at a 45-degree angle down. We can also think about rotating this light around as well. So we can do 45-degree angles from the side. So if we go back and render this now, we'll see that we're kind of getting a combination of multiple things here happening. So again, you can push your story and tell it slightly different things, and what's happening with the story. Are you trying to hide something? Are you trying to make things feel like that they're unreal, or more believable, less believable? You can really push a lot of these story elements with your lighting when you're doing this. So I hope you liked this quick look at one-point lighting for characters, and we'll be having, you can check my page, and I should have more lighting tutorials up for different things like 3-point lighting and color temperature and things like that. So we're going to be looking at a lot of lighting stuff coming up. Alright, have a good day, you guys.